Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Hidden in Plain Sight, where we delve into all things in the wealth management industry. We talk to thought leaders, industry trailblazers, and everyday practitioners to try and uncover some of the biggest trends, the emerging technologies, and perhaps some not so obvious opportunities that are set to reshape the industry. And with me today, I have Patrick Shaddow, President and CEO of Syntax Data. And so, Patrick, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
I think my first question is simply, what is Syntax? Help everyone understand what it is that you guys all do.
Yeah, sure. So syntax is the happy marriage of a data company, an indexing company, and a technology company. We're quite unique in the way with which we structure our data and organize our data. A little bit about us. We've been in the indexing business for our whole career, right? I started at Dow Jones in 2006. I went on to be employee number one at a small startup called S Network Global Indexes. We built and sold that company in 2020. And ultimately, what I wanted to do when I saw the data that Syntax was sitting on is create a platform which essentially asked all the same questions that I asked each and every one of my clients historically. And I've worked with some of the largest ETF issuers here in the States, internationally, some of the largest mutual fund companies, some of the largest banks here in the United States, and
Yeah.
internationally. And it all really boils down to what is the investment objective? Are we seeking to create a factor portfolio? What kind of region do we want? US? Do we want large cap, mid cap, small cap, all cap? Right? Do we want to do a growth tilt, a value tilt? Do we want to put on an impact overlay? Should we kind of lean towards environmental, social, governance, composite ESG, any sustainable development goal of the United Nations? Let's eliminate civilian firearms if we want to go there, right? And so what our platform does is asks a series of questions, and then after answering these series of questions in about 5 minutes or less, any advisor can create a portfolio tailored specifically to their client's investment objectives. And so what Syntax does is we classify companies for what they do at the product line level, and then we use this classification in order to create transparent and rules-based portfolios with pinpoint precision on getting exposure to any particular investment objective.
Okay, you threw a lot at us. I'm gonna ask you to reel it back a second and tell us in a sentence or two, if I were, let's say, a financial advisor or a wealth manager, how would I actually utilize Syntax in, let's just say, a portfolio design?
Oh, with any way that you could possibly think of. So if you know enough to put your client into a growth portfolio or a value portfolio or some kind of speculative investment, say cybersecurity, if you think AI is going to proliferate and expand throughout the next few years, if you know enough to, kind of advocate for your client to invest according to their values or create a core portfolio which replicates the largest 500 stock index in the world, you can use our platform, a very simple and intuitive, easy to use platform, in order to create transparent and rules-based portfolios specific to any particular investment objective. And in one simple platform, any advisor, any wealth manager can create a core portfolio, a factor portfolio, an impact portfolio, a speculative micro thematic portfolio, or even a macroeconomic portfolio. So when you start thinking about standardizing relative to what every company in the world does, what you ultimately have is the ability to group companies based upon their related business risks. And by grouping companies by their related business risks, what we're essentially able to do is group a bunch of companies and then see how those companies perform at different types of economic regimes. And so think about empirical market data, think about St. Louis Federal Reserve data, and think about classification data. And when you use the three of these particular data points, what you're essentially able to do is ascertain what types of companies do well during different types of macroeconomic regime changes. Think strong dollar, weak dollar. Think policies of presidents. Think rising inflation or deflation. Think rising interest rates or lowering interest rates. Cyclical, counter-cyclical. What we're able to do based upon the way with which we classify companies is, again, identify how well these types of companies do during these types of different changes. And so with our platform, what any advisor or wealth manager could do is simply go in, answer about 10 basic questions that are all more or less multiple choice, and create a portfolio that is systematic, deterministic, transparent, and rules-based, and supported by an investor policy statement, which we call our rule book, right? So
Well, if you can do all of that in 5 minutes or less, that would be impressive because you, you just gave us a lot. But what I'm hearing in there, and correct me if I'm wrong, is something that I talk a lot about, which is one of the big mega trends in the industry today, is simply personalization. And what I hear you saying is that you have the ability to help create personalization at a, if you will, a custom index level for every client. Is that a fair overview, if you will?
absolutely, 100%, Adam. I mean, when you start thinking about, the ongoing trends, right, and with this generational wealth transfer that we all know and we're aware of, right, what we think is going to happen, and these are Syntax's views and mine personally, is that the financial advisor's business is ultimately going to be fractionalized, right? So instead of having one client with, say, a few $1 million, that same financial advisor, once that money transfers to the heirs, will have multiple accounts with hundreds of thousands of dollars. And in order for a financial advisor to provide the same level of customization and personalization, they must use financial technological innovation. And that's why, companies like Nebo, your company, for example, who is essentially creating the asset class diversification, right, and kind of seeking to show where each individual account should be based upon the KYC and the particular attributes of the given account holder, right? What we would do is work with a company like yours, and as you say, you should be invested in, say, for example, a 70% in equities, 30% in fixed income. Well, what we could do is come in here and, using a transparent and rules-based platform, create that same exact exposure that Nebo would recommend, and do so at the individual stock and bond level, as opposed to doing it just with a yet another model, which does not differentiate any financial advisors from the next financial advisor down the road, in which point you're just competing on cost.
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly right. I think there are some synergies here because what Nebo Wealth is doing is really running a very powerful portfolio optimization engine that takes everything that's unique about a client through the financial plan and helps to design what we would call the perfect fit portfolio across all the different asset classes. And what it sounds like Syntax does is create personalization, but at the individual sort of index level. And so there's synergies between the two.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you start thinking about the efficient file-based asset management delivery mechanism, which has supported the growth of the ETF and the passively managed financial product industry, and you pair that with the creativity and the imagination of index providers that have created boundless types of different portfolios and indexes, right? What you ultimately have in Syntax Direct is the ability to not only bring that same level of imagination and creativity through a technology platform, but pair it with the ongoing production of daily files which support the efficient asset management process, which powers the passively managed product industry. And as we kind of see that these trends emerge, and you start seeing, that fractionalization of a financial advisor's business. Well, who is that? What is that fractionalization coming with? It's coming with what we believe is a whole new financial consumer, a whole new financial consumer who has grown up on technology, who is used to instantaneous information, who is used to low cost providers, who is used to, identifying and finding the answers to their questions in quick succession, right? And, as you start kind of thinking about why any one given company is ultimately in this portfolio of yours, what you can do with syntax data is go directly back to the source, go directly back to the 10K with the provenance of this is exactly why this company is included in your portfolio, and this is exactly why this company is allocated as much as it is within your portfolio. And so when you start thinking about transparency and rules-based and deterministic and the ability to kind of show exactly why any one given company is in a portfolio, or why any one bond or product is in a portfolio, it always helps to have this investor policy statement. It always helps to have this rule book. The rule book has been the linchpin of my career throughout my time in finance. And what I wanted to do when I came over here to Syntax is not only marry the indexing company, which was Syntax Indices, but the data company that we had called Locus Analytics, and a technology company that we took over out of Seattle, Washington, called Timemill. And we married the three of these companies together to create what we believe is a super powerful organization which provides the full breadth of research and analytics to ongoing daily production, the front, middle, and back office, which typically is reserved for some of the largest asset managers in the world, can be on the is put into a single platform to empower financial advisors and wealth managers to make the best decisions.
So let's do this. I'm a financial advisor. I sit down with one of my clients or prospects. Give me a very simple example of how they would use syntax to help develop a custom portfolio at, let's just say, an asset class level.
Yeah, I mean, very simply, financial advisor asks the individual, or determines that the individual should, maybe the individual's on in their years, right? And they want to live off some of their income, and they have a few $1,000,000 in their bank account or their custodied accounts. And, they're currently paying upwards of 65 basis points a year to have access to, a free cash flow dividend portfolio ETF, right? What you could do simply with our platform is log in through our factor tile, identify the starting universe, large cap US stocks or international developed companies or all world companies, and systematically go through, say, I want a 50 stock portfolio, which rebalances on a annual basis, and select 50 some odd companies from this large cap universe. And companies should first pass all the quality characteristics that go with Syntax Data's way of identifying quality companies. And then we only want the companies with the highest dividend. And then we have a couple more choices. Do we want to mimic the sector weights of the starting universe? Do we want to have 28% in IT if IT is 28% in the large cap US index? Or do we want to just let the quality and the dividend ratings and factors drive the sector allocation for the portfolio? Or maybe we kind of want a mixture of both, and we kind of check a mid conviction level. So through the simple question and answer process, any one advisor can tailor specifically to their particular client's objectives. That client might also not want companies that are engaged in energy or fossil fuels or gaming stocks or whatever it might be, right? And very simply, by going through our question and answer, and it only takes about 5 minutes or less, could produce a portfolio, a comprehensive back test, a whole slew of statistics that the financial advisor could kind of run through the particular portfolio that was developed with their client, and then ultimately name the index after their client have the index ticker reflect their particular account number that they're going to use for this, so that syntax
Hmm.
can then be directly send the files directly to the order management system that the financial advisor is using. And so through a very simple and intuitive process, any one advisor can create a factor portfolio that drives income for their clients by saving their clients money. And the best part about it, from our perspective, is that the client ends up retaining more of their assets because they're not paying the heightened expense ratios. The financial advisor maintains more assets under advisement because the client is no longer paying that expense ratio. The RIA, who's offering Syntax Direct, maintains more assets under management, and the turnkey asset management platform that they're using, if they are using one, maintains more assets under advisement and administration. So it's a win for the client. It's a win for the financial advisor. It's a win for the RIA, and it's a win for the TAMP that they're using.
Hmm. Uh, it sounds like you have the potential to disrupt some pretty established players in the industry today. So who who are you taking market share from with this new approach?
Yeah, there's room for everyone here, right? When we start thinking about who we're taking market share from, I think what we're doing is we're complementing the industry, right? What was once the purview of the high net worth individual and only the privileged few has come full circle through financial technological innovation, and the
Mhm.
SMA. And the SMA is now available to, folks who don't have, tremendous amount of assets, right? And so what we're doing is we're providing a service using our data to construct portfolios that are perfectly tailored for their particular for financial advisors' particular clients, right? And so what we aim to do is empower a financial advisor to with again that same front, middle, and back office, which is typically reserved for some of the largest asset managers in the world.
Yeah, well, I love what you're doing, and there's so much synergies with what we're doing here at Nebo Wealth, which is all about personalization, personalization, personalization. That is creating a personalized portfolio for every single client at every single stage of their life that is directly connected to their financial plans. And the one thing that we know is, life is dynamic, and your portfolio should be as well. And we want to always maintain that alignment between your plans and your portfolio in order to maximize the likelihood that you achieve your goal. And it sounds like what you're doing at Syntax is creating that personalization at the end implementation level. And so there's so many synergies between the two organizations here. So just in wrapping up, if folks want to learn more about Syntax or get in touch with you, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't you just kind of log on to syntaxdata.com, www.syntaxdata.com. There you'll find, our three main product lines: Syntax Direct, Affinity Data, and our custom indexing business. And so, it's very easy to get a hold of us. Syntax, the structure of a sentence, right? And so when you start thinking about why our name is Syntax, what we've done is we've created this information system, which again, segments of the global economy, not by size and style and region and sector and industry, but by business activity and resource. And so when you start thinking about business activities in terms of verbs and resources in terms of nouns, hence the structure of the economy, hence the structure of the sentence,
Yeah.
syntax data.
Well, there you go. Well, thanks for joining us today. And for all of you out there, I'm Adam Scully Power. I'm the Practice Solutions Director here at Nebo Wealth. We love having these conversations. We love learning about what's sort of some of the big trends. I call them hidden in plain sight, which is obvious to some, but maybe not to everybody, that are really going to disrupt, I think, in many ways, the industry. And I think what you're doing at Syntax very much falls in line with that. So, Patrick, thanks for joining us today. And everyone, we look forward to our next episode.
Thank you for having us.
All right. See you later.